With the Republican Party that traditionally prides itself on personal responsibility, for a Republican Party that prides itself on personal responsibility, protecting the sentient unborn, and free markets, I was curious your thoughts on animal rights, just because the government subsidizes animal agriculture far more than fruits and vegetables and plant foods, which inhibits the free market and ends up slaughtering lots of animals. And animals are also sentient beings like the unborn. So I was curious your thoughts on all of that.
Yeah, so the question is first, is an animal a human?
No.
Okay, so does it therefore have rights?
I mean, we already have rights for animals, for dogs, cats, and even for some
no,
farm
of course,
animals.
but do you get First Amendment protections for your dog? Can your dog own a firearm, right?
No.
No, of course not. So it's not the same thing as a human.
Yeah,
now,
I'm not saying
Now,
it is,
as
yeah.
a Christian, we're also not allowed to torture or to slaughter. That's in the Noahic covenant and repeatedly out the scriptures. We must be humane in our treatment of animals. But as far, I don't know where you're coming at from this perspective, but some people would say that animals and humans are on the same moral plane. I don't think that's what you're saying, right? However, there is a push, though, to say that we should no longer eat meat because it's bad for the life of animals. We should do what's best for human beings, first and foremost, and it's good for human beings to eat meat. It's good for human beings to be able to eat animals. It's good for human beings to not just eat like this synthetic fake meat that Bill Gates wants to make all day long. And so, yeah, where do I stand on animal rights? I mean, I don't think any living being should be tortured or should be cruelly treated. At the same time, we should always do what's best for human beings and human beings first. So, for example, when there's an environmental question, the question should first be what is best for the human species, not what's best for the trees or for the snake. Those things are important, but it's more important for humans. Does that answer your question? Or
In part is okay if I have a little follow-up.
Please, yeah.
I mean, in terms of what rights we give to animals, of course we wouldn't give animals the right to drive a car or vote because it's not relevant to them. But the rights that would be relevant to them are basic negative rights, the right not to be mistreated or killed. And we already have that for cats and dogs, and even cruelty laws on farm animals.
Well, we're allowed to kill dogs. That's not true. We have kill shelters for dogs, right? We also kill dogs that bite their owners and dogs with rabies, right? So if a human being gets rabies, what do? We treat the human. If a dog gets rabies, unless there's like a miraculous treatment, which there usually isn't, right? So you're right. The negative rights, we do have rights to be able to, for better or for worse, because we do not treat dogs and cats as the same moral level because we as human beings have a soul, we have reason, we have the ability to make sense of the natural world. Dogs do not, right? Dogs only have senses. They do not have reason. And so, for example, a dog cannot tell that it's a dog. Now, there's some disagreement about that, but we as human beings can make sense of the natural world. We are the speaking beings, to say differently. But no animal should be mistreated. But to say that animals are not allowed to be killed would be, therefore, an argument against meat, correct?
Right, yeah.
I'm
no
not
lies
saying
about
that's
it.
your
I'm
position.
arguing against...
Right, that's very unpopular probably at, UW-Madison to get rid of bacon, right? So... I'm just guessing. Yeah.
I mean, the reason I'm bringing this up ultimately is these animals that we kill on factory farms. We kill them pigs in gas chambers. We ground up male chicks alive for the egg industry because only the female hens lay eggs. All these different things is because we view animals on not having enough rights to actually protect their livelihood. I'm making an argument that we shouldn't obviously give animals rights that aren't relevant to them.
For sure.
But yeah.
So,
I think as a
if
Christian,
you were a dictator, would you say we cannot kill pigs?
No, I think that should be left up to the free market.
Okay.
The reason I'm concerned about it is the government is spending billions of dollars.
Yeah, I think factory farming has
yeah.
a lot of problems, more because of the health of the human that eats the meat, less than about the animal, because it's just not as good for the human. So thank you. Yeah,
but real quick, do you think ultimately that our Republican Party that is pro-free market should be propping up billions of dollars towards subsidies for animal
agriculture? I'm not a huge
agriculture?
subsidy fan of things that make people fat and unhealthy.
So would you, if you were in a voting position, either if you were an elected leader, would you vote against, and should Republicans vote against that?
I'm not in a voting position. But yeah, I would advocate against most of our current agricultural subsidies, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.